Hello, my name is Rachel Lee, and this is my presentation on a thematic analysis of interviews that I completed with formerly homeless adults. Before we get started, I just wanted to thank the following individuals for their support and contributions to this research study. Dr. Becky Ozeli, Dr. Paula Costello, my faculty mentor, Dr. Laura Van Pembroke, and my site mentor, Stefan Karuba. And a special thank you to all of the Night Ministry employees and volunteers that I had the pleasure working with for the last 4 months. This project could not have been completed without the support of everybody listed here. This study took place at the Night Ministry, which is a nonprofit organization that serves Chicago's homeless and unstably housed populations. The current role of OT at this organization is limited to semi-weekly OT volunteers who participate in street medicine efforts. First, I wanted to share a little bit about previous studies related to this topic. For some background for this study, the homeless population overall is at high risk for a number of disabilities. Even after this population obtains housing, they face a number of barriers to stable housing. This is an emerging practice area for occupational therapy. As you can see here, rates of disability among the homeless population is extremely high. While homeless, individuals spend the majority of their time engaging in survival occupations, such as bathroom hunting. These skills are useful for surviving on the street, but are not useful for maintaining stable housing. Participants in another study recognized that they were experiencing a loss of critical life skills necessary for stable housing. This is because the homeless population experiences pervasive occupational alienation, which is a lack of choices and opportunities to experience meaningful and enriching occupations. Once an individual obtains housing, there are many challenges to maintaining that housing. A common complaint is occupational imbalance, in which individuals have difficulty resuming mundane household tasks or performing these tasks too frequently. Common goals that participants in previous studies have named relate to financial security and employment, community integration, and education. Stable housing is known to promote health, education, and employment opportunities. Some challenges to stable housing include overcrowding, temporary housing programs, and discrimination. Known contributing factors to stable housing are trauma-informed care from service providers and employment-centered interventions. The theoretical foundation for this study is a Canadian model of occupational performance and engagement, which is centered on spirituality and social justice. The desired outcome of this model is occupational enablement of the client. The formerly homeless population is underserved. The purpose of this study is to enable formerly homeless adults to engage in meaningful and purposeful occupations and to promote housing stability. Findings from the study may be used to develop an OT program which targets this population. Going into this research study, I had 2 questions. First, how do social and physical contexts interact with client factors to promote housing stability for those currently successful in maintaining stable housing? Secondly, how can OT support individuals as they transition out of homelessness and into permanent, stable housing? Next, let's dig into how the study was conducted. This study utilized an exploratory qualitative design, which included the thematic analysis of 5 semi-structured interviews. There are a total of 5 participants between the ages of 25 and 65 who had a lived experience of homelessness, but were now stably housed for 1 to 2 years. The first step of the research procedure was recruitment of the participants. Convenient sampling was used. Prior to meeting with the participants for their interviews, they were required to read and sign a consent form. Participants also completed a background survey to gather general demographic information, such as age, race, gender, and employment status. The interview itself was recorded and included a script, 11 questions, and follow-up questions as necessary. Here is the procedure's timeline. Once the interviews were completed, I transcribed the audio recordings. Once all of the transcriptions were completed, Dr. Van Pembroek and I worked together to thematically analyze the interviews. The interview questions were regarding the participants' routines, physical environment, challenges to maintaining their home and health, perceived supports to maintaining their health, and their overall experience with transitioning out of homelessness. After all of the questions and follow-up questions were completed, I acknowledged to participants that I'm an outside observer with no experience of homelessness. Was there anything that I did not ask that I should have asked? Is there anything else they would like me to know? This led to some very interesting and important results. Before we dig into the results, I want to acknowledge that Dr. Van Pembroek and I used Braun and Clark's 6 steps of thematic analysis to develop codes, themes, and subthemes from the interviews. A total of 6 themes were elicited from the interviews. The theme of relationships was broken into 4 subthemes: community members, family, pets, and service providers. As you can see, all 5 participants had something important to say about their relationship to community members. The theme of environments was broken down into 3 subthemes: one place for daily occupations, protection from crime and weather, and basic necessities. The theme of routines was broken down into 2 subthemes: staying busy and rest and sleep. Health management was a standalone theme of which 4 out of 5 participants had something important to say. The theme of trauma had 2 subthemes: feeling institutionalized and trauma narratives. Despite not being asked about their experience with homelessness, all 5 participants chose to share gut-wrenching stories of their time living on the street. It is clear from this result that formerly homeless adults still closely identify with their traumatic experience of homelessness. The final, but not unimportant theme was gaps in services, in which all participants had something important to say. In the following slides, I will define each theme and give an example quote. I defined relationships as a participant's social context. One participant shared a special routine around cooking with a friend. I never learned how to cook. My neighbor has been teaching me. Every Sunday, we do a little lesson and hangout, you know? She teaches me a new recipe every Sunday. The next theme, environments, refers to the context and materials that make a home feel safe and comfortable. One participant discussed the challenges into making ends meet. When a homeless person gets housing, I feel like everybody thinks like that just solves all their problems. But housing doesn't come with financial stability, so I still have to pay for regular stuff like toilet paper. And then outreach places, the ones that help homeless people, don't want to help me no more because I'm not homeless. Next is routines, which refers to the activities that take place at or near the home on a daily or near daily basis and have a special meaning to formerly homeless persons. One participant explained how her and her household's lives center around a methadone clinic, which is necessary for her medically assisted cessation of substance use. So I wake up about 5:30. Wake up, make coffee, get myself ready. The methadone clinic closes at 8, so I have to make sure I'm on that like 7:30 bus. So then by 4 o'clock, I start making dinner. Everybody's eaten by 8 o'clock, and everybody is in bed by 9. I define the next theme, health management, as the activities and contexts related to managing chronic health conditions. One participant described the difficulty in navigating health services necessary for managing lymphedema. There are only 4 specialists, and I have yet to see one because I need a referral from a doctor. And he's like, "You have lymphedema." I'm like, "All right, I need that in writing because I'm saying it, but because it's coming out of my mouth, it's not coming out of your mouth, and people want proof." The next theme, trauma, was defined as the negative effects of long-term homelessness on one's behavior, affect, and identity. One participant compared homelessness to incarceration in transitioning out of homelessness to being released from prison, and went on to give an example of this effect on her thoughts and behavior. This is just an example, like people getting out of jail, right? You're institutionalized, like you don't know how to live like a normal person. Like at first I took a shower and I'm like, all right, I'm not really dirty. Like, I still had that mindset of you're fine, you're inside, so you're not getting dirty, so you really don't need a shower. The final theme, gaps in services, is defined as the ways in which the system has failed formerly homeless individuals, and that OT practitioners may be able to effect change. When asked what supports he wished he had right after moving into his new home, this participant gave the following answer. I mean, at least some way to prepare food. You know what I mean? Like whether they right away give you a box and it has pots, pans, silverware, stuff like that, and with maybe an air mattress in it or something. First and foremost, any service provided to formerly homeless community members must include trauma-informed care. This population has a significant history of trauma, which impacts their identities, mental well-being, daily routines, and housing stability. Based on previous research and the findings from my interviews, OT interventions from this population should include job coaching, the development of peer support groups, and support with navigating community services and resources. The clinical bottom line is that OT interventions targeting the physical and mental well-being of clients, employment opportunities, and community resources are desired by formerly homeless adults. This study also adds to existing literature as to how the interaction of environment, relationships, routines, and trauma inform formerly homeless adults' identities and behaviors. In conclusion, formerly homeless individuals are an underserved population who may benefit from OT services, according to this study and existing literature. The findings from this study may be used to develop a pilot OT program for formerly homeless adults. These are my references. Thank you.